I would just like to reiterate how disappointed I am that I'm unable to be there in person. But I feel fortunate that I'm able to share these thoughts and RIMS resources with you virtually. And I'm extremely proud of the amazing work our volunteers do in Japan. Thank you for allowing me to share with you today. Every risk professional has heard the saying, no business can succeed without taking a risk. We stress to colleagues, business leaders, and to board directors the importance of recognizing that risk can be positive and how uncertainty can open the doors to revenue generation, market growth, innovation, and can give the business a competitive advantage. However, lately with COVID-19, it has been difficult to see how risk can possibly be a positive. This pandemic has impacted all of us, personally and professionally. Risk professionals have had to adapt strategies, facilitate changes to processes and policies, and having RIMS network of risk professionals to lean on for support has been so valuable. Risks are evolving, but technology remains a top concern for all organizations. Every day, technology is changing the way we live, interact with each other, and conduct business. Just recently, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon announced the company would increase its technology budget to $12 billion, up 26% from 2020. Technology, it makes us more efficient and our teams more productive. It cuts cost, especially for those organizations that have decided to abandon their commercial property. It allows us to reach audiences around the world and engage in new markets. And if we don't embrace it, we will fall behind our competition. But risk management must be a part of the technology adoption process for several reasons. The first is because of the impact it can have on multiple business areas and the overall strategic direction of the organization. With employees and customers accessing your systems remotely, there will certainly be greater exposures. And even before the pandemic, we were seeing a tremendous increase in cyber attacks. That does not seem to be slowing down. There's opportunity for risk professionals to address these concerns. It starts with education and training. An unfortunate percentage of cyber attacks are a result of internal failures. Clicking a corrupt link, opening an attachment. Training is key, and risk professionals should champion these efforts. Additionally, we should be the ones who initiate conversations across the enterprise. If your human resource department wants to integrate a new digital system, is IT informed? Will this impact accounting or payroll? Risk professionals must be forward-looking and anticipate the interconnectedness of these decisions. Lastly, I believe there needs to be more and better conversations between risk management professionals and our counterparts in insurance. Cyber insurance is very costly, and it is not covering what organizations need it to cover. Transparency and further dialogue is needed, and as a risk professional, it's our job to lead these conversations. Next is supply chain. On this slide is an image of both empty and full cargo ships in Shanghai's port. Risk professionals must ensure that they have supply chain visibility. Are we able to track raw materials and components from original suppliers and manufacturers? And can we track them to our manufacturing facilities and customers? There are ways we can make our supply chain stronger. Diversifying suppliers, both geographically and the actual vendors we contract with. Setting networks for product transportation so we're not reliant on one group. and by reassessing our inventory and production schedule. Another top risk for organizations are ESG risks. This covers a very broad range of risks, but they all have become top priorities. Beyond the obvious of why it is important for organizations to address environmental, social, and governance issues, effective ESG risk management can have a direct impact on company value. In an Oxford University study, 90% said sound sustainability standards lowered the cost of capital, and 88% said that solid ESG practices resulted in improved operational performance. 80% said that good sustainability practices have a positive influence on the performance of shares. Perhaps the easiest way to gain support for your ESG risk management efforts is to highlight the consequences of not managing them. That could include lower valuation, higher cost of capital, board directors could face dismissal, less attractive to employees, negative impact on supply chain, lower earnings, fines for non-compliance, and higher insurance premiums. It would be difficult for any business leader to argue and not allocate the resources necessary to address ESG risks. Let's talk about people. While these risks top our list, another one has emerged: people or talent risk. The pandemic has taken its toll on employees. In addition to their work, our employees are grappling with difficult decisions on how to keep their families safe and healthy. Some became victims of restructurings and business interruption, and for quite some time had no idea how they would survive financially. Instantly, overnight, a whole other group became full-time remote workers. They've had to navigate this new working arrangement and quickly realize there's no separation between home life and work life. Huge number of workers decided there's no time like the present to retire. And while we're happy for them, it has left some organizations in a dangerous predicament. So while we can say no business can succeed without taking risks, we also must remember that no business can succeed without great people. Talent risk race to the top of many organizations' priority list, and risk management is being called on to help address this growing concern. So a little bit about me. I have an interesting take on this. I am the vice president of legendary people at Texas Roadhouse Restaurants, and a big part of my role is managing our workforce. I want to take a moment to talk about my company, Texas Roadhouse, and how the global pandemic impacted us. Along with so many other industries, the food and hospitality industry was absolutely devastated. By the end of 2019, before the pandemic, Texas Roadhouse had more than 600 restaurants, several in Asia. The ones in the US were averaging more than $5.4 million annually. And then the pandemic hit. To understand just how hard the restaurant industry was impacted by COVID-19, here are some numbers. Within 2 months of the first US coronavirus cases, 40% of eateries in America had closed their doors. It's 40%. US restaurants in those months lost a collective $120 billion. 8 million US restaurant workers were out of work. Managing talent and this unexpected workforce crisis became our top priority. A RIMS Risk Management magazine article titled Managing Talent Risk in a Tightening Labor Market notes how many firms are continuing to have difficulty hiring new workers, especially low-wage hourly workers, truck drivers, and skilled tradespeople. The lack of job candidates had a direct impact on productivity, and for some businesses, they were forced to reduce their hours of operations. To complicate matters even more, what happens when we overextend our workforces to compensate for talent shortages? Well, it can lead to injuries or other physical or mental health issues, which could impact insurance and workers' compensation costs, or even prompt lawsuits. For businesses, the first step to addressing workforce shortages is to understand the reasons behind them. Low wages could be the issue. I was reading comments from senior economist at EPI, Heidi Shearholz. She said that whenever anyone says, I can't find the workers I need, they really should add at the wages I want to pay. In addition to compensation, several other widespread issues are fueling hiring and retention difficulties. Immigration restrictions, health concerns, but I think this last one, and this is where the risk management community can really make a difference, and that's company culture. There is a saying in the US, you don't know what you have until it's gone. And I think this talent crisis has re-emphasized that businesses better start caring about their employees. So how can we help our businesses address this challenge? I can tell you about the importance of culture at Texas Roadhouse. We have an unofficial mantra at Texas Roadhouse to manage talent risk. It is hire right, train right, and treat right. And I can give you examples of strategies we use to help our restaurants not just maintain staffing, but maintain superior staffing. Let's talk about hire right. So we have a well-articulated step-by-step process for our general managers to hire and onboard new members to their teams. We check references and make it a point to interview as many people as possible. We encourage our leaders to not get too caught up on experience. We can train people to be great cooks, but it's hard to train someone to be a team player or have an enthusiastic attitude. The hiring process is where we need to be upfront about expectations and the commitment that will be required for success in the role. And we've developed talking points for our team leaders to communicate them to our new hires. Train right. Everything from how to hire to how to treat guests. How can we expect our employees to succeed if we don't provide them with the proper training? We are also determined to create opportunities for our employees to excel and enjoy coming to work each day. We strongly believe that our best employees are going to be our best resources for finding new talent. Lastly, treat right. We make work fun. It might seem silly or insignificant, but recognizing milestones, achievements, anniversaries, and even birthdays goes a long way. By the way, Texas Roadhouse treats its employees much further than that. One of our founder, Kent Taylor's major goals for the restaurant chain during the pandemic was to protect his employees' income. In fact, he didn't take a salary himself in 2020, and we didn't have to let any of our talent go. Not only did he not take a salary, Texas Roadhouse was able to give our employees nearly $17 million in stimulus bonuses. He wanted to show our gratitude for their hard work in such an uncertain world. This is just an example of what we do at Texas Roadhouse, but risk professionals around the world can help their companies implement a number of strategies to mitigate talent risk. Some companies have approached employee shortages by offering more competitive salaries, signing bonuses, and better benefits to attract applicants or keep existing workers. To boost both retention and recruitment, employers can proactively address health concerns. Publicizing the steps that the company is taking to maintain health safety to both current and potential employees can also show that the company cares. Safety goes a long way. There's a great story about the Aluminum Company of America, or Alcoa, a century-old company that manufactured everything from Coca-Cola cans to the Hershey Kiss wrappers. And I got this story from a book titled The Power of Habit. Years of success at Alcoa was followed by a period of management mistakes. The value of the company started to drop and competitors started to creep in. The company's stakeholders decided it was time for a change and brought in a new CEO. The candidate they chose was different from the rest. Instead of focusing on new markets or other modes of revenue generation, this new CEO focused on employee safety. Everything he did had a safety focus. He minimized casualties in the manufacturing plants and set up new procedures and policies to keep workers safe. He upgraded machines and processes to prevent injuries. He created channels for plant managers to deliver information about day-to-day operations and where improvement or additional resources were needed. He proved to his workforce that he cared about them, and in turn, they cared about the business. Alcoa became one of the safest companies in the world, and within a year, the company's annual net income was 5 times larger than before the new CEO arrived. This focus on safety had a ripple effect. It improved morale and productivity. Establishing that culture of caring is important. Many companies hold exit interviews. But what about the employees who are still there? A great opportunity is to administer periodic pulse surveys to measure employee mood and engagement. How about stay interviews to gauge what they like and dislike about their jobs and whether they are seeing any issues among the workforce that the company can address? As employers, we need to be flexible. Remote working is a great example of this. Risk professionals can help make sure our workers have the technology they need to be productive, that the technology is secure, and also check to make sure our employees' home setups are ergonomically correct. Technology has also opened the doors for organizations to tap into a broader and, in some organizations, global talent pool. It doesn't even need to be global. Think of people with disabilities who wouldn't be able to commute to an office, but can contribute from their home offices. And while you can take all of these approaches and be as accommodating as you possibly can be, it is important to realize that some employees will inevitably leave anyway. Knowing that, what does succession planning look like in your organization? Is there an opportunity for you to cross-train employees on different skills? These formal development opportunities are so valuable, not only to the organization, but to your workers. At Texas Roadhouse, we've built a culture that genuinely cares about its people. So much so that our people genuinely care about our company. And risk management has established itself as yet another way to take care of our Texas Roadhouse family, both employees and customers. My title, Vice President of Legendary People, embodies our corporate culture. It's a reflection of our commitment to culture and people. RIMS Board of Directors are often asked, what are the top risks facing organizations today? Or sometimes, what keeps business leaders up at night? We then run down our list. Business interruption, the hard insurance market, technology, supply chain, ESG risks, changing regulations. But if we take a step back and look at these risks individually, you can see that our biggest risk is not having the right people. We need the best talent to manage our technology, to examine our supply chains, to track changes in regulation and make sure we're compliant. We need great people at our business sites to step up and make recommendations for new processes, who aren't afraid to communicate back to leadership when something isn't going to plan. Risk management departments need great people too. And RIMS has several resources to help you achieve this. Let's start with the RIMS Professional Growth Model. This resource provides a guideline for risk management professionals and the organizations that employ them. That defines the knowledge, skills, and abilities that they'll need to advance in their careers. The model supports career development and growth and is structured into 4 categories: specialized knowledge, skills and attributes, growth opportunities, distinguishing accomplishments. And our members can use the model for career planning, switching jobs or career changes, performance evaluations and benchmarking, talent development, and recruiting. As the risk management profession continues to gain recognition as highly critical business function, our community also needs a way to validate their expertise, their knowledge, and their experience. The RIMS CRMP certification is the only risk management certification to have earned international accreditation under the ISO standards. Right now, we have more than 700 certification holders from 37 countries, including Japan. And we have another 1,000 risk professionals approved to take the exam. What makes the RIMS CRMP certification different is that it was developed by risk professionals, not a nonprofit, not professors, and not people in related fields. It is the only accredited risk management certification in the world, and it validates a professional's knowledge and shows their commitment to professional growth. Later this year, RIMS and ARMJ will offer 2 risk management education courses in Japanese. They are Fundamentals of Risk Management and Applying and Integrating ERM Theory. And we are proud to announce that we have translated RIMS Strategic Risk Management Implementation Guide into Japanese. The guide is a great resource that highlights how we can develop, design, and implement interdisciplinary and practical risk management applications for strategy setting and execution. It also includes best practices from leading global organizations. Please contact ARMJ for more details. The last resource that I wanted to share with you is our newly modernized and relaunched RIMS Risk Maturity Model. The model assesses your risk program, and with that assessment, you'll be able to identify areas for improvement and allocate resources more effectively. You'll also get a report that you can then share with leadership to highlight your program's strengths and progress. Addressing talent risk is critical to navigating this new world of risk for every organization, including RIMS. If this society is going to be the biggest and the best risk management association in the world, it depends on talent. RIMS needs a talented staff. We need strong board directors who understand the profession and the role RIMS can play in helping our members. We need volunteers to run our chapters and to share their professional experiences so that we can host meetings like this one, design the RIMS CRMP certification, publish a highly relevant magazine, and develop new risk management resources and courses. Great people are going to allow our organizations to be resilient. Consider yourself an important piece to this equation. By Sharing your ideas and experiences, you allow others to be better, and together we are advancing the profession. RIMS needs great people like you, and I encourage you to continue to explore RIMS' vast library of risk management research and knowledge. Thank you so much for your support of RIMS Japan chapter.